So I am going to go to my local Target. We're gonna see if I can get some okay coffee at Target. It's probably going to, full transparency, it's probably gonna turn into cold brew because that's what I do with coffee. That's not given what it's supposed to have gave, and coffee that I love because this is a cold brew household. But yeah, so this is a vlog, coffee exploration, grocery store edition, Target. Let's go. It was very difficult. So I wanted to get black and bold. It was great to get a, oh my god, I'm nervous. Coffee people aren't elite. No, I am. Like, whatever. I wanted to get black and bold, right? Support a black business, have some like relatively decent coffee because I'm eating this shit, you know, I'm eating this. So even though this would be around my budget, and also like I always include ways that you can support this channel if you want to support this channel, because some cool shit is popping off, and more importantly, like, come on, please support me, I'm fun. But anyways, so I have a standard of deliciousness that I expect to enjoy when I drink coffee. I have some smells that I like to smell. Even though I'm really into umami and everything else, you know, sometimes like umami in my cup is not really my thing. I do like a good acid punch. I do like fruity. I am like one of those people that if it tastes like a Jolly Rancher soaked in whiskey, I'm into it. I'll drink it in the morning. Okay, I add acid to my coffee. Like sometimes, like I put like lemon slices in my coffee, or orange slices, or grapefruit slices. I think like it's, shit needs to taste good. And so like sometimes I can understand conversations about elitism, and palates are always evolving, just like our perspective should be. But some of this stuff is nasty, and like I noticed like some people like will drink nasty coffee, and it's not nasty because of like the source. Well, depending on what kind of coffee you're getting, it's nasty because of like they roast the shit out of it. You're basically drinking charcoal, and I love hookah, but I don't want to drink hookah charcoal. I don't like light them and be like, you know what, that'd be good in my cup of coffee. But you know what I'm saying? And so like I don't like super duper dark coffee, super duper smoky. I'm not gonna say I don't like. I prefer other taste experiences, but I'm open to them because they can be done and done deliciously. You know, I'm open. But I do have a standard. There is a standard, you know? And so I don't know how we can communicate that. I mean, I feel like it's like is it fair to expect? If the tools aren't there, then it's not fair to expect. But there's a standard. And I may like montage me testing this coffee while I like ramble on and yada yada yada, yappa yappa yappa. Shanice. Are y'all on TikTok? No? Okay, whatever. And so what I got is this Good and Gather signature. So this is Target's brand. It was like $8. I hate spending like $8 for coffee because it tells me, unless it's like a small serving, but this is $8 for 12 ounces. That I'm sure like a lot of people are like, oh, that's a good deal. No, it's not. Like, I want people to be able to feed themselves and their families. I want people to be able to invest in the infrastructure of their businesses. These coffee places are small businesses, and like we are so dependent on a system that is inherently exploitative, and on the consumer, the powers that be, the systems keep us broke bitch, right? So we can only afford nasty things, or we can only afford certain prices. And so then we like to, the only thing that trickles down is shit. You know what I'm saying? Trickle down economics does not exist. Reagan ruined the country, whatever. Sorry. But the only thing that trickles down is shit. Okay? And so we want to put on our inability to pay the price that it should be onto these producers, these origin partners, and it feels very it's a lot for me as a black person, a working class black person. It's just like, yo, like, that's why Audre Lorde, when she said there's no like conscious consumerism under capitalism, it's very difficult and arguably impossible to like consume all the way good. And so we should go out and do our best. But I wanted to explore a coffee because a lot of times people say specialty coffee is inaccessible to everyday people. I don't know what the fuck that means, but I do. Okay, so this is a coffee. I don't know what we're deciding light roast is. I know that there's not an industry standard, and technically this is not my industry. This is definitely not a light roast that we would, as specialty coffee folks would deem as a light roast. So let's talk about the good parts. There was consistency in the flavor with the cup. You did have some cacao. You did have the burnt sugar. And so with such demonstrative toasty flavors, I was able to have a very clear direction in what I did for my pour over. So what I did with my pour over, I did a double bloom, half of a long ass bloom, because it's darker than, it's a little roasty toasty. It's developed. It's a lot more developed than I think that this coffee needs. And so with the development of it, I did a longer bloom and then a very quick pour. I went for a very quick pour and to flush out some of that funk and the extra toasty stuff that kind of coats your tongue with very dark roast coffees. Yeah, and so the very strong flavors were consistent. Very one note, kind of, a little bit, which is kind of unfortunate. So I used to work at Caravella Coffee, and so they're a really great importer that is stateside, but that's located stateside or whatever, but it focuses on South American and Central American coffees based out of Colombia. And they're a really great company to work for. So if you're in the Houston area and they have a job opening, get on that. But yeah, and so I was able, as a lab assistant, I was able to, get the physical data of coffees from this place. So from Guatemala, Huehuetenago, which is really funny. Funny how I've had like absolutely delightful coffees that were very like sparkling and very sweet from Huehuetenago. And although this wasn't the experience, I hope with the labeling, even though, so what I see when I see the labels, so I see the labels and it says like organic, and it has the fair trade. And so this is something that I learned not only working for Caravella, but I used to work for Whole Foods. And so what I learned with fair trade is, and at the farmer's market, so with these labels, these certifications, they cost. And so it's kind of like you gotta pay to play, you gotta pay to be the boss. And so if you don't have boss monies, you could be doing all of these things but not be able to get the certification. And so like I know that some of you all, I know that like kind of like late 90s, well early 2000s, everybody was like, I need my coffee to be organic, bitch, organic. And I'm with you, I'm with it, but unless we as consumers and we as an industry is going to set up a fund to subsidize the certification for farmers to even the playing field, what happens is you have people who can afford capital, which in a system as we are, it's going to be people who have had capital and who have the benefit of generational wealth many times. And so in America, that equates a lot of times on the color lines. So white people that can afford to go to these countries that they've benefited from the exploitation of them, and now they benefit from us being more mindful of the quality in which we source our ingredients, which I feel like that's double dipping. But again, that's not what this is about. But they can get these big plantations and they can afford these certifications. And even as a criticism for specialty coffee, what I was talking about earlier, you know, the funky anaerobics and stuff, that's a cost barrier. That's a big risk to be taking. And so I feel as an industry we have to see, like, because I want to know, like, I want to benefit from those risks, right? How can I and how can we as consumers and participants in this industry facilitate safety net? And so, like, okay, so dealing with importers that have relationships on the ground, like Caravella and other importers, like, I'm not like, you know, I am biased because I know those people, and I was treated very well in a very difficult time for everyone during COVID and everything. And so I will say that, like, if you are a roaster and you're like, oh, I wonder how they treat people, I know that I was treated well. So take that with as you will. And so there's a mindfulness, and there's also a standard, but there's empathy. Like, you engage in communities and you engage with people and you see generations change, and you see, like, people who, there's a commitment to the quality of the coffee, because this can be beneficial for people. People can give us these beautiful coffees, right? Tap into their ancestral excellence and grow and all that. I'm a firm believer. Like, I've tried to keep things alive and I cannot. And so anyone who can do that and engage in that, I have so much respect for them. And it takes talent, it takes skill, it takes modern science, it takes ancient intelligence, and I think it's a beautiful thing in every cup, even not our favorite. There's something beautiful that can be found in it. But yeah, and so I want people to be in the position where they can experiment, where they can, you know, do the weird shit, but that's money and that's lost. And so, like, we have to be mindful. I like to shop in places where I see long term them buying the same coffee from the same producers. And then I also like to see them branching out, balancing, like, commitment, long-term commitment with our origin partners. Also, like, having a door open to create new relationships with new small farms. So I'm researching the Haitian coffee farm, coffee kind of history and, like, what's going on. And so in that research, I saw something, and it's like 80% of the world's agriculture is produced by these small shareholder farms. And so a small shareholder farms are farms that are less than 5 acres. 80% of our coffee, I mean, not just 80% of our coffee, I don't know the coffee percentage, but 80% of our food that we eat is produced by these smaller farms. And so, like, for a healthy, profitable, mutually beneficial industry, we have to balance upkeep of commitment and investing and supporting new relationships. And so, like, one of the things that despite needing to do this shipping, and despite like waiting, and despite like the additional cost of the specialty coffee, I guess this is kind of like the case for specialty coffee. Not only do you get a better end product, and so if that's enough, if you're like, I just want to taste good, this stuff is not tasting better than the stuff that I get. This ain't the good shit at the grocery store. I'm sorry. And I want you to want better. I want you to enjoy better coffee. But when you invest, and when you invest in your daily cup or whatever cup, and you engage with people who can give you that traceability, and so you can ask questions. You're an informed consumer. So you can go and you can be like, oh, I saw this last year. Oh, this partnership. Now, don't go up the coffee shop being annoyed. Don't go up in there and be annoyed. We still in that Rona, so don't be taking too much time. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like what I like about specialty coffee is I have that traceability. I can ask them at least like, who's your importer? Who's your exporter? Like, can you explain that to me if that's something that you're really interested in? I definitely suggest like emailing management and giving them the opportunity to send it to you written down. Not written down in a way that you can be checked, but written down in a way of like, you're just gonna buy a bag of coffee, but that kind of information, although it should be readily available for everyone in their staff, that kind of information, that should be in a specific space and time, you know? Managing your shop, working behind the bar, working with all this, a lot of stuff is going on. And so if you're curious about it, send that email, allow them to respond to that email, and then, you know, engage with conversations from there. That's just my perspective, because then it gives people a time when they see your email, they'll be like, all right, I can give you the sources, I can give you this, yeah. I'm sitting down, I'm already in this mindset of answering questions and doing, you know, computer work, and so you're not catching anyone off guard where they feel like they can't give you the information that you want to know, or they just say something to get you out the door. And then you are provided with good information that you can feel good about, and then you can ask, and then you have a record. You do have a record where you can be like, yo, what's good with this? You know, if that's something that's important to you as a consumer. So that's just my little bop about that. But yeah, so this, like I was saying, because I'm the queen of tangents, you don't have that traceability as readily available in the big grocery stores. But what I realize is I really wish more of our specialty coffee people got the opportunity to be in these big grocery stores. You know, even if it's smaller bags, you maintain your prices, but you provide a smaller experience. And you go to certain stores, like even if you like talk to your local co-op, talk to your thing, and there are ways, there's consultants like, I know how to do this, so you can always email me and stuff like that. But get your coffee, expand your offerings, because ultimately what we want as an industry is we want everyone to care about and enjoy quality coffee. The more people that enjoy and care about quality coffee, that means that we tell the people that have the money and the people that will have the money that this is important to us, and so you need to invest your money in this. And so we can really utilize something as simple as this bean water to change the world, to fix some of the issues. Because that's ultimately what should be important to all of us, is not only like the good time, the good coffee, the good food, and the family and the feel good, but the space for everyone to enjoy that. And that's very complicated, and it's not all on the individual, because we did not individually create this problem. It is not our fault, but we are responsible for it. You know what I'm saying? We did not create the problem, but we need to have a solution. We need to care about the solution, and you need to take ownership of that. And so, yeah, like one really great way is to be more intentional on how you get your coffee. If you're one of those that like to email with management, maybe ask your local grocery store, like, what local coffee producers or what local coffee do they offer? Because if you continuously ask that question and you kind of like make a nuisance of yourself, I think that you can encourage, again, these grocery stores, we can tip the scales in our favor. So yeah, I was not crazy about this. This will be cold brew. So what do I do normally when I get a coffee? Because there are some coffees that I get from specialty coffee places that I don't like. But it's important for me to purchase them because they stand for something that I stand with. And so what do? I adjust it. So I make a little adjustment. Oh. Ooh. That's the floor. That's alright. That's alright. We'll just freestyle it. We'll freestyle. Ooh. So this is like honey I got from Trader Joe's. So one of the things that I've been into, ooh. I do it for the rashes, guys. So we got this. So this is like bougie as honey. Well, not really bougie. It's actually pretty good price. So I have a little baby whisk. I get some honey, right? So sweeten it. Sweetening's always good. What do you do when you have a coffee that you believe in or that you don't want to waste? So you could brew a big batch. You could make it into cold brew and then use the concentrates, put them on the flavoring sparkling waters. And that can adjust the flavors. We're gonna get a little bit more because it was a little. I'm gonna tell you, it's not my fave. And then you sweeten it. You could add some milk, but what I'm gonna add is ginger. So you can get for like $2.99 at Trader Joe's. You can basically get this dehydrated, easily dissolvable ginger juice. That's really cool, but it's powdered. Dehydrated, I think that's like to that. So you get this little dehydrated little this, right? And so you don't have to pour in all of it, but pour in a little bit. Stir it because it is, spicy. Add a little depth to it, a lot of little sweet zing because this is a little bit of one note. What I notice when people over roast, ooh, that's classy. That's cool. That it just takes out the complexity that is inherent to a lot of coffees. So, and boom, it's yummy. Is it traditional coffee? No, but what is traditional coffee, But it's warming. It plays well with the cacao. It takes it from like bitter dark chocolate, but not in the bougie pinkies up enjoyable way, but like the super raw cacao that people pretend that they like, but they really don't. It takes that, it kind of makes it sweet, and so now it's milk chocolate. The ginger adds a little zing to it, and it just feels refreshing even though it's hot. So yeah, this is a little quick vlog on getting coffee from your grocery store that's not from a known specialty brand, because there's a couple of specialty brands that are in your grocery stores. But yeah, getting the coffee from them and finding out what to do with it if you don't like it. They said bright acidity, but then toffee. See, this is when you see the tasty notes and you're bright acidity, but then toffee, and it's is that giving? And do those two things normally go in the same? I don't know. don't know, but I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop while I'm ahead. I'm trying to be positive. But yeah, so this coffee. I don't know if I would recommend it, but if you get it, like, it's drinkable. Make it into cold brew. And then put it in your sparkling waters. And be cute, you know? It's cute. It's an experience. But yeah. I'll see you. Thanks for tasting and exploring with me.